Who wants to feel happier and lighter in life? Everyone, right? Today I'm going to be going through some very simple astrology to guide you into bringing more joy into your life. And we're going to be considering the beautiful and magical planet of Venus and a lot of the symbolism that comes from this planet. You probably already know that Venus is considered the planet of love, but Venus is also the planet of pleasure, self-worth, feminine energy, as well as peace and harmony, all wonderful things that we want to bring into our lives, right? And even if you don't know where Venus is in your birth chart, you're still going to get a lot out of this session today, because you'll be reminded of the things that Venus represents, and this is going to connect you with the Venus in your chart. So a good place to start with Venus is to think about the things that you loved when you were younger. What is it that brought you joy, that just made you laugh out loud, that was just so much fun for you to do? Maybe you adored swimming, or you were the one that always loved to climb trees. Perhaps you had a special relationship with pets and animals, and you were the one that couldn't wait to finish school so you could get home and create your little world with your furry friends. Or perhaps you loved to ride your bike really fast. Perhaps you were the girl that just always speeded around on your bike, loved to go and knock on people's doors and challenge them to competitions around the streets on your bike. That would suggest your Venus is in a fire sign, like Aries. So what was it that brought you joy when you were little? Can you bring any of those things back into your life? Not sure about knocking on the neighbour's door and challenging them to a bike ride, but yeah, why not? Maybe you loved baking. Maybe it's something you don't do anymore, and it's something that you really used to love when you were a kid. These are the things that will connect you to that Venusian energy of pleasure, of joy. And if you can't do those things in your life right now, then pull out some old photos. Remember how you used to feel when you used to do those activities. This can be just as powerful for bringing more happiness into your life. Okay, another way that we can relate to Venus is when we think about our likes and dislikes, our tastes, and especially when we're talking about fashion. How often do you second guess yourself when you're getting ready in the morning? Because we're just bombarded with the latest trends, the latest fashions, and it creates this pressure to change our style when the newest trend comes out. But actually, this is against our natural Venus vibe. So Venus says that you have your own unique style. And when you really connect to this, then you're expressing yourself in your own unique way. This is Venus in action. So what's your favorite style? What do you love wearing that's maybe not in line at all with the latest trends? Perhaps you prefer really earthy colors and high quality fabrics. The clothes that bring you joy have to be comfortable and feel good to the touch. This sounds so much like Venus in Taurus. Maybe you prefer wearing well-cut suits, shirts, a more refined look, delicate jewellery. This speaks to a Venus in Capricorn. Maybe you've got your Venus in the sign of Sagittarius. Now you might like a more of a boho style. You love florals, tassels, even if it's winter. So can you see how the symbolism of the signs comes through in our tastes, in the things that we like and we dislike? Lean into your unique style. Find out what it is that really lights you up. Because when you do find your unique style, you're going to feel more yourself. You're going to love yourself more. And of course, you're going to feel so much happier. And it doesn't mean that, for example, we don't wear a suit when we go to an interview, or we don't love comfortable clothes when we're slouching around at home. We're really talking about those kind of clothes, that style, the adornments, the jewellery that brings you joy, that you really love. So another area that Venus is related to is women. And here I'm talking about what we admire in women. And so by really thinking about the kind of women that you look up to, the kind of women that you perhaps aspire to, you will be connecting in some way to the planet Venus in your birth chart. So maybe you like women who are light-hearted, who are funny and don't take things too seriously. Think Miley Cyrus, for example. This would be a really good example of Venus in Gemini. Or maybe you like the bold, proud presence of somebody like J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez, that her fiery energy and her confidence on stage gives you a bit of a girl crush. It sounds like your Venus is in the sign of Leo. For a Venus in Virgo, perhaps you admire women who are more reserved, more humble, and are quietly of service to others. Or you like mysterious and magnetic women, women that project power with their presence in a mysterious way. This sounds much more like Scorpio. And so how can you emulate a little bit these women that you admire? Have a think about their values, how they project themselves. How can you be a little bit more like them? This is going to help you to express your personal Venus in your birth chart. When you unashamedly try on some of the energy of those women that you admire, you'll find that you feel more empowered and your heart opens when you connect with these women who have similar values to you. You can read about them, you can study them, read their autobiography. These are the kind of things that are going to trigger your own Venus vibration. And if you're thinking, who do I even like? Like, what famous women do I look up to? Pull up a list of 20 famous women in the world and just see who draws your attention in. Who's somebody that you would be more likely to read an autobiography about or watch their latest speech or music performance. Venus is also the symbol for self-worth in the birth chart. And so where are you not giving yourself enough credit? Because there's some real opportunities for extra happiness when you start to give yourself a bit more credit for the things that you are amazing at. Maybe that's holding a house together if you have Venus in Cancer. Really think about those skills that almost come naturally because they bring you joy, you enjoy doing them, so you don't even recognize them, if you like, as being superpowers. But actually they are. If you have your Venus in Libra, for example, then you're an expert at bringing peace and harmony to situations, of helping to dissolve conflict. And that might be something you really enjoy. Just recognize how good you are at that and how much value you bring to the world. If you have Venus in Pisces, then you're a hopeless romantic. That's not a bad thing. We need that in the world as well. You love poetry and dancing and sharing your naturally compassionate side with the world. Just know that that has great value and that for some reason you've been chosen to master that energy, to bring it into the world in the highest way possible as it relates to your world, to your circumstances. I would just love you to take a few minutes to bless yourself for those things that you're really good at. Of course, there's so much information in the birth chart and it really depends on how your Venus is connected to other planets, what position it is in a particular sign it's in. I have the planet Venus in Aquarius, and when I was younger, I absolutely loved gadgets and the latest gadget that made it easier to, stamp holes in a piece of paper. But I was also quite obsessive about collecting things, and my Venus is very much connected to the planet Pluto, which can manifest in obsession. I used to collect rubbers, stickers, key rings, and so of course there's always a lot more information that we can get from the whole birth chart. But hopefully you've been able to see Venus shows us where we get pleasure in life, what we enjoy, what makes us happy. And so the final way that I wanted to talk to you about connecting with the planet Venus is something really practical, and that's stargazing. Now, Venus is said to be the prettiest star in the sky because it's very visible with the naked eye. It's always quite close to the sun, so depending on its cycle, sometimes it can be seen at sunset and other times it can be seen at sunrise. It's a very steady, bright, yellowy white star, and just contemplating Venus in the actual sky can bring you a great sense of peace. Maybe you'll start to feel the wonder of the universe, the awe, the fact that we even know about the planets in this way, the fact that the ancients took this time to really study and feel what the planets were transmitting and how that could relate to us in everyday life. It's fascinating to consider. So if you do manage to get out and do some stargazing, then just ask for the blessings of Venus. Allow the planet to open your heart and ask Venus what it is that brings you true happiness and true joy in your life, and to bring more of that to you. Thank you very much. So, like I said, even if you don't know where Venus is in your birth chart, just by considering the things that we've talked about today, you're going to get a feel for the Venus in your chart. And I've included a simple worksheet below as well with some ideas on each sign and how Venus might show up. So you can download that below. Thank you so much for watching today. This has been really fun.